Intro to 88. Intro to 88. Na 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 na. Hey, Batman!
Holy podcast, Batman! What are we going to do the show today? Holy Batman!
Pain.
Holy underwear, Batman!
What does Batman say? I don't even know. He's like,
He says, "Shut up, Robin."
it's like, hello. Hello. I can't. My voice is too high for me to be Batman.
Holy vegan cheese, Batman! This is the episode 88 of the Simple Wholesaling Podcast.
Now introducing your host, Brett Snodgrass.
What's up? What's going on? Sorry.
What's up? What's going
What's
on?
up?
What's up?
What's up, holy simple wholesalers out there? This is your host, Brett Snodgrass of the podcast at Simple Wholesaling, and I'm with my co-host, Jaren Barnes. What's up, Batman?
I am the worst Batman ever.
You're good, man.
I should be they should make a superhero out of like a surfer dude. And I think my accent is definitely like, yeah, bro.
Surfer Batman.
What do they say? They say like, totally.
Totally, man. You should be like, they should do like
Rad.
a surfer Batman. Like, hey, holy Batman, you want to go to the holy beach? Totally, man. Let's go catch. Because the old Batman and Robin.
They were holy?
That's what Robin would always say. Like whenever they would, Joker would come in and they'd have to run, and he'd say, "Holy ashtray, Batman, let's."
Really?
Yeah, like whenever they come into a crime scene and everybody be laying on the floor, Robin would like, "Holy dead people, Batman." Like, I don't know. They're just, that's the old school, man.
How old are you, bro?
This is like the 80s, I think, or 70s.
That's awesome, man.
Yep. But anyways, we did that for you guys today because we have an amazing duo from Indianapolis, Indiana, named Adam Oldham and Andrew Unland.
All right, so who's Batman and who's Robin?
I don't know. I think that your names are so interesting because they're almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like Adam Oldham and Andrew Unland.
Yeah, it's a perfect combo.
Definitely.
Almost like Shane and Shane.
I know. It's so funny. But these guys are starting out in real estate investing. They've been doing it for a little while. And it's so funny because they went to college and they got these just crazy
Ridiculous
majors.
degrees, yeah.
Like we have, rocket scientists, neuroscience, and Adam in chemistry, and just crazy degrees.
They're like way smarter than us. I don't even know why they're on our show.
Yeah.
We should have been on their show.
Definitely. But they're just getting into real estate investing because they want to live a life of freedom. They want to not be tied to, a 70-hour-a-week job or whatever. And their plan B is, be a doctor. And but a cool show for you guys. Cool interview. They actually bought a house from us a couple of months ago, and that was their very first investment. And now they have another one under contract. And this is really for the new people just getting started. And these guys are so young. I don't even know if they can get into bars yet. I think a little bit over that, but they're like 22, 23 years old. So crazy,
yeah.
Crazy stuff. So those of you who are young, just getting out of college and think that you can't do it, this show is for you. So stay tuned for that. But other than that, we have a great show. And anything going on for the holidays for you?
No, man, to be honest, just kind of chilling. We were going to go visit my mom, but we decided not to.
Really?
So we're just going to be hanging out in Indiana. What about you, man? Anything new in your life?
Not too much. When the show airs, Karen and I are going out to San Diego, Collective Genius, and that's a mastermind group that I'm a part of, and they're doing their annual event. So I
heard that they have a really special guest speaker this year. He's this really cool guy. He's like
Batman?
Over the last couple of years, he's like he's from Indiana actually.
Robin.
No.
Oh.
He's this guy. I forget his name. He has a really weird name. It's like really gross. You
Barnes.
should change it. No. It's like Modgrass. Snodgrass.
Really?
Snodgrass. Yeah. This guy, I guess he's gonna be like a. Have you ever heard of him, Brett Snodgrass?
Never, man. I thought it was gonna be Robin.
He's awesome. But yeah, I'm really excited. I was demoted. He pulled the wife card on me. He was gonna have me go and show some love because he's actually gonna be featured as a special speaker at Collective Genius, and he's like, I would really like to hang out with you, but I'd rather hang out with my wife, and my wife wants to go. So be demoted. Demotion.
Yeah. Well, it's, I've been in this mastermind for about a year and a half now, and Karen has never gone with me. I've always taken the team members, and it's been awesome. But yeah, so they've asked me to speak, one out of so many people. I think that they bring in a lot of big speakers. There's some crazy names that you guys might have heard of that are coming in and doing some amazing things. And they take about 6 or 7 guys from the group, and they asked me to talk on basically how to develop a team and how to get everybody, just driven and on board with your purpose as a company and as a team. So that's what I'm talking on. So that's pretty special. Yeah.
If you wanted to, not to put you on spot on the air, but I think that it would be pretty cool if you did like a test run of your speech on the air. Like actually have it come out as an episode. Just be like, you just do it, and then as practice, and then we'll put it live. I won't be on there though. I'll just listen in. I won't say nothing, but I think it'd be really cool. I bet
that would be cool.
If you guys would like that, send Brett an email at brettsnodgrass@simplewholesaling.com.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give you guys a little clip. The title of the presentation is called The 5 Functions of an All-In Team. And one of the most amazing books out there is by Patrick Lencioni, and it's titled The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. And he talks about the negative things that bring conflict and resentment into a team. And I was thinking about that, and that's such a popular book, and so many teams are reading this book, and it's an amazing book for teams, but it's all negative, and it's almost like, okay, what's the opposite of a dysfunctional team is basically just, a functional team. And a lot of people, Jaren, I relate to this, maybe whatever. But a lot of people come from family.
What are you trying to say, bro?
Nothing. But a lot of people come from families that are, we talk about the dysfunctional family, right? And, so basically that is, you can have a dysfunctional family or just a normal, functional type of family. But what if you actually took that a step further? And you just didn't have not a dysfunctional family and not just a normal functional family. What if you had a family that was just thriving, all in?
Yeah.
And they're like, and you ask your kids, you're like, wow, he's like, what's it like, to live with your mom and your dad and to be a Snodgrass? And my daughter is like, it's amazing. Like my dad, he's awesome. We're always playing around and he's taking me places, and we have these conversations and it's great, and your kids are saying this and your wife is saying this. Yeah, we have a purpose, we have a vision, our family is thriving, and we're praying together, and it's just awesome. And it's the same thing you do with your team. So that's the vision I created for this presentation, and that's what we're going with. So
dude, I really think you should do it. I really for the podcast audience, just once you have it, pretty much ready to go, just jump on the mic and go through it one time. And
yeah, I might. I'll have to ask CG if it's okay, because I don't know. They might have rights to it. So
okay.
But anyways, yeah, that's what we're doing. But we have an iTunes review for today that Jaren is going to read us. What's up?
Oh yeah, man, I'm loving it. You guys, so many reviews, so much love. Oh, I feel it. Oh, you guys feel it? I feel it too. Can you feel the review on iTunes? I used to watch that as a kid, Lion King, and I used to cry.
I'm going to leave a review on our iTunes and say, stop singing!
5 stars if you stop singing. This is by expat98. I just finished another of Simple Wholesaling's podcast. I'm so impressed with this series. The podcasts are full of practical information with easily actionable ideas that apply to real estate investors, whether you're just starting out or are a seasoned investor. Brett does a great job of sharing info while also making the podcast fun and enjoyable to listen to. Kudos to Brett and the entire Simple Wholesaling team. Yeah. Brett's awesome, but Jaren sucks.
I know. Where's your? I'm gonna leave another review that says that.
Brett's awesome, but get Jaren off the show. He's annoying. I hate his voice.
No, man, you're awesome too.
You're awesome. I tried to get Brian Snyder to start coming on a little bit more, but everyone was like, "We love you, Jaren." So I was like, "All right." I love Brian Snyder. I'm gonna get me a T-shirt that says "I heart Brian Snyder."
Me too. Love me some Bri. Anyways, thank you so much for leaving that review. If you guys are interested in leaving a podcast review for us and you love Jaren's singing ability, please go to iTunes right now and tell him to stop singing, but leave him 5-star reviews. And mention Jaren's name a little bit. Give Jaren some love.
No, don't.
I love Jaren. Brett stinks. He smells like cow poop.
I was completely joking about the comment. I am all about... That's what co-hosts are. They're pillars to bring the leader up, So love on Brett. He needs a lot more than I do. And also, one other thing, since we're talking about singing, if you guys haven't heard, you need to go to YouTube right now and type in Go Remix, GOAT Remix, and have yourself a ball. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay. Brett's Inside of the Week.
For today's Inside of the Week, guys, we're going to talk about 4 books that you need to read. That if you're a real estate investor or any entrepreneur at all, you have to read these books because these books not only they relate to real estate, but they relate to just entrepreneurship in general. So the first one, obviously, is Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and this is a book that has changed so many lives. It talks about a guy named Robert Kiyosaki. It talks about his rich dad, which actually was not his real dad. So his real dad was a blue-collar worker, worked from paycheck to paycheck, paid the bills, and that's how he grew up. And then Robert had a best friend. His best friend had an entrepreneurial dad, and he called this his rich dad. And this dad talked about leveraging money, leveraging other people, leveraging talents, leveraging confidence, and building an amazing business. And this is what Robert Kiyosaki did. He didn't write this book actually until after his dad had passed because he didn't want his dad to feel bad about it. But this has changed so many people's lives. So if you haven't read this book, you have to read that now. The next one is The Millionaire Next Door. This is a book that actually changed my life. I really relate it to when I was dead broke, actually sitting in a bankruptcy office. I was driving like the most expensive car that I've ever owned. So I wanted to act rich. I wanted to see myself as wealthy and other people to see myself as having a lot of money. But literally I was sitting in a bankruptcy office, absolutely debt to my eyeballs, dead broke. And then I read this book, The Millionaire Next Door, and it talks about not the celebrity millionaire, not the Justin Bieber of the world or the Kardashians, but the average millionaire. What do they look like? And it's actually the person living right next to you, and you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. They live in a $200,000 home. They drive a used car, and you wouldn't realize that they were a millionaire at all because they live frugal, and that's how they saved their way and built their way up to being a millionaire. The third one is The One Thing, another book that absolutely changed my life. I was doing all these different things in real estate, flipping houses, wholesaling houses, and selling on owner financing, doing some rentals, managing all these different things. And I read this book, and we created this company, Simple Wholesaling. You know what? We're going to focus on wholesaling. We're going to do it right. I'm going to build a team, and here we are today. We're going to do a few hundred transactions this year, and just absolutely amazing. So focus. Just focus on one thing, guys. You don't have to focus on 10, just one, and just kill it at that. The fourth one is Traction, another book that absolutely transformed our business, taking us from a one-man show to being able to build a vision, building a purpose, building a team, getting the right people in the right seats, talking about issues, and not only myself being able to do this business, but actually teaching other people how to do it as well, and them being the best at their roles and their seats. That's how you scale. That's how you grow a business. So this book, Traction, is another book. So there's the 4 top books that I recommend you guys read today.
I would also throw in the Bible. Keep it spiritual, bro.
Yeah. I didn't write this. Brian! I'm just kidding. Yeah, the number one book actually teaches you about finances, how to raise a family, what to do with your money, to do everything, and as a life manual is the Holy Bible, and that's the only thing that actually matters. So if you don't read any of these,
just read that one. Yeah. Spiritual foundations. So I'm going to take the reins on the spiritual foundations this week, and something that I really want to highlight is the power of keeping it extremely, extremely radically real, and honest. I've mentioned it here or there a lot on the podcast, and I've just been in a hyper growth phase, I guess. There's a lot that has been happening this year, and it's been kind of just crazy. And there's been so many ups and downs and so many pain. It's just been an amazing year. But something that I see in the church a lot, and when I say this, I love the church. I'm a part of the church. I'm not critiquing and bashing on the church, but what I see a lot is a lot of the times it's easier for people to walk around with a mask and hide what they're really going through. And I've done that. I've done that many times, especially in business, especially when you got a little podcast, and you're in your corner and you're yeah, I gotta be awesome. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure actually, and most of it's a bunch of crap you just put on yourself, but you definitely can feel the pressure of dude, well, what if I have an off day? What if I yell at my wife and freak out and not do something that I need to do the right way? How do I continue to lead if I'm not living it right? But I think something that Brett does really well is that he leads with transparency. So, if he's having a hard day or if he's super stressed out, he doesn't try to hide it. He just says, I'm going through this right now, and let's pray. Let's go after this thing together. And I think that, from all the leaders and influencers in my life, he's pretty much modeled that the best for me. But I just want to, highlight that for you guys, in your marriage, in your business, in whatever your sphere of influence, I want to encourage you and challenge you to try to lead with transparency. If you're afraid, it's okay to be afraid, and owning your fear is one of the things that'll give you the capacity to step in the ring, step in and fight the thing. And so if you're afraid, if you have something you need to confess, something you need to do, I just really want to dive into this, just being real. Take the mask off. The fastest way to grow is to just be real, even if it's ugly, even if it's hard, even if people get hurt. It's easy to do things that are comfortable, but the things that bring the most radical results are the things that are most uncomfortable. So there's actually this saying, I know this is pretty hardcore. Again, I've been listening to a little bit too much C.T. Fletcher and these people, but there's this saying called embrace the suck. And if you can, the faster you can do stuff that sucks, the faster you're going to grow. And so I just really want to encourage you guys, whatever it is, just keep it not to go all hardcore gangster on you guys, but keep it 100, just keep it real. Mm-hmm. So
that's good, man. That's a good word. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Ain't got nothing else to say, bro.
That's it.
All right, let's go on to the main part of the show.
You want to back it up?
Yeah, man. I wanna hear the amazing wisdom of my transparent leader.
Well, I guess I'll back it up. So, thank you for the compliment. I think that I'm transparent. I think that I'm, to be transparent. To be real, I think that I'm transparent. I think I let things fester a little bit, and then I puke out transparent vulnerability, and I think that's my human nature, because kind of like to people please and things like that. And then sometimes, just especially in business and life, we're just so freaking busy. It's like I don't even have time to like think about stuff. And then all of a sudden, I get a weekend to myself, and I start looking at stuff, and I start thinking about stuff, and I start having all these epiphanies, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if this is good or what I want, or just stuff like that. So then I end up, just kind of being real, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, So I think it's okay to slow down. I think we have to have those opportunities each quarter to just kind of slow down and figure out, is this what you want? Is this direction that you want to go in? And my purpose is to bring opportunity for people, but I also have to bring opportunity for my family and bring just opportunity for other people. Sometimes we just get kind of comfortable and complacent, and I just kind of hone in on that. And I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this at all. So be transparent and stuff. Yeah, I think
that's awesome.
Anyways,
I love you, Brett, man.
Thanks,
that was
man.
The best.
I'm being vulnerable.
Isn't it awesome? This is the honestly, I know it's funny and it's kind of all over the place, but being real, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But this is what it takes to become the best. A lot of people, they'll put on the mask and they'll be, yeah, I'm a hardcore, do. And it, honestly, from what I've seen, and I don't know everything, I could be wrong, but from what I've seen, those are the ones that crash and burn. But the ones that ride the waves and ride the storms are the ones that can be like, because that's the real, like, that's what it is to lead a business. That's what it is to lead a family. That is what it is, like, to be a Christian in a fallen world where everything is coming at you. Like, it's okay for things to suck, and for them not to feel good, and we should embrace that, because it's those moments of like failure and freak out that define us. The more we can fail, the faster we can grow. So
yeah, amen.
You're awesome.
Put me on the spot.
So Dave edited this part out, but just say okay, guys.
So all right, guys, we're gonna go to the next part of the show where we're interviewing Adam Oldham and Andrew Unland, the biochemist, neuroscience majors who have gone real estate investors.
Let's do it. Episode 88.
All right, guys, we are so excited for our guests today. We have local legends and schoolboys, Adam Oldham and Andrew Unland. And it's funny, your guys' names kind of rhyme.
I think it's Uland. Is it?
No, it's Unland.
Is it Unland?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love your names. You guys are like just always two peas in a pod. And they're from Indianapolis, and Adam and Andrew, actually we met them at our local Simple Wholesaling meetup, which is on the fourth Wednesday of each month. If you guys want to join us in Fishers, check us out on meetup.com. And we actually sold them an investment property, and they graduated from Indiana University, and their majors are like rocket scientist majors, with Adam in chemistry and Andrew in neuroscience. And so there's some brains behind the brawn. And they do a lot of various things, but now they're getting into real estate investing and working together to build this amazing business. And their ripe age of 23 and 22, is that right?
Yep.
Awesome, guys. Hey, thanks for joining us today, man.
Thank you for having
Dudes.
Dudettes. Hey, so always to kick this thing off, we always ask what everyone's superhero origin story is. So, Andrew, starting with you, tell us a little bit about your background, and then, what made you go from, neuroscience to real estate wholesaling, or wholesaling, or real estate in general. And then, Adam, you follow suit.
I've always been pretty entrepreneurial. Like as a kid, like I had business projections scribbled all throughout like all my business journals. I actually found one the other day, and it was like from 4th grade, and it actually had like numbers and stuff in it. And I've just been interested in business for a while, and I I was actually planning on going down the med school route, and that was kind of my plan B, actually.
Nice. I mean, that's a huge plan B, bro. That's a
Yeah.
lot to invest in neuroscience.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I should have gone with business, but
It's awesome. So then tell me a little bit about like, so what you had general business interests, but then tell me a little bit about how, real estate went. Like, how'd you get into real estate?
It kind of went from like one topic to another. Like it went from like cars and like having a car dealership, because I'm a pretty big car guy, to real estate in like 7th grade. Like when I started to get into architecture, like I really like the case study houses and Frank Lloyd Wright, like especially Falling Water. Like after that, I was kind of sold. I was like, all right, I either want to have one of these houses or I want to work with these houses.
Man, I wish I hung out with you guys. I'd be so much smarter in 7th grade. But anyway, Adam, go ahead. Tell me where you came from, and how did you get into wholesaling? Or excuse me, I don't know why I keep saying wholesaling. We're still into real estate.
I think for me it was a lot of it was actually, I think Andrew kind of brought it on me a little bit, just because it's funny, because I can remember even in like elementary school he would write on a scrap of paper all these like business projections actually, and for a while he was it's funny and you laugh, but it's true, because probably from the day when I met this kid it was like
Kid's weird as fuck.
Well,
am I not allowed to?
Yeah, don't cuss on
All
the
right.
podcast.
Whoops. If you have a bleep button,
Yeah,
use
we'll
it.
bleep it out.
Yeah,
I apologize.
but essentially, he'd always come with these business projections, and I think that it kind of came off onto me, and he pitched this idea. But I think the real point where I got in and I liked the idea of real estate was I actually read Brandon Turner's book. I can't remember the exact title. It's like Real Estate Investing or Rental Properties. That was the first book I ever read, and that kind of got the ball rolling. And then he'd recommend me some other books. Obviously, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everyone knows that book. So just kind of taken off from there, and I guess ever since we've just been working as diligently, as hard as we can to like make that happen. And I think a lot of it, he alludes to the meta route. Like that was something we were both wanting to do. I think as time has kind of gone on, I've realized that maybe my time is spent better doing something else. That's still kind of up in the air, because right now I'm doing a master's in physiology at IUPUI, so I still have that potential to go down that route. But I see a greater return. I think I can do a lot more in the field of real estate. So that's kind of one of my big motivations to go that way.
That's crazy. It's a good story, because a lot of times we have someone on the air or our podcast that maybe was a high school dropout or a college flunky, and then here we are with a chemist and a neuroscience major, and maybe going into med school. And I think it's really cool. So Andrew, you kind of had this kind of business sense. It reminds me of my story a lot. I was always, playing with my piggy bank, and I would get out my quarters, my pennies, and I'd count my money, and I'd say, oh, I got $16 today. That's really cool. I sold some candy or whatever. And it sounds like you have some of that same, philosophy and that same strategies that you go into. So it sounds like you just really enjoy business. You really enjoy buying and selling stuff. I'm trying to imagine, you guys in elementary school on the playground, and you come up with this little pad while you're shooting basketball in recess, and you're just like, oh, I just found this cap rate. But where do you think that comes from? Did you grow up in a family that had business sense, or where does that kind of come from? What excites you about business that you can teach other young people? Because most people your guys' age literally are just waiting to go to the bar, and it doesn't sound like that's what you guys are doing. So where's that come from, and what do you tell other people your age and give them some advice?
I don't really know where it comes from. Like I don't really remember like an event like kind of creating it. It's just always been there.
Did you have a family that was into business, or what did your mom and dad do?
My mom works for Raytheon, So she's in corporate America. My dad, all right. So he was an aerospace engineer, and he's working at Eli Lilly. So
I really do wish I knew you guys when I was in like 7th grade, because I'd be so much better off in life.
I'm just trying to picture, it's like career day at school, and my dad's like coming in as a coach with his sweatpants on. Your dad's like aerospace engineer, and it's just awesome. Your family sounds so interesting.
So I want to kind of gear the conversation towards your guys' first deal, because if I'm not mistaken, we actually sold you your first real estate deal. Is that correct?
yeah.
So go into that experience and be completely honest. If we were absolutely terrible, this is your time to rag on Simple Wholesaling for a little bit. But what was your experience buying from us, and then kind of what did you end up doing with the property? What did you guys decide as your strategy? Go into that.
Well, I'm just going to preface a little bit. So let's just talk about when we first got to the house, the one on Arlington.
Ooh.
We went to another property before, and this was kind of near Butler. And it was pretty bad, and this was we kind of had like our sheet we brought with us was like, this is...
It was infested with fleas, wasn't it?
Yes.
Incredibly.
Yeah.
But
like, you know how like you see like on National Geographic or like Animal Planet, like the schools of fish swimming in the ocean?
Yeah.
Imagine that with like fleas and flies like in the kitchen.
Wow.
It was bad. Needless to say, we got in there because I went to outside. He was like answering a phone call, so I was looking outside. I was like, oh, it needs a lot of work. I knew that. And then we go in, and the first time we go in, he's like, is someone living here? I was like, I don't know. It's like kind of one of those houses where you come in there and you're like, am I supposed to be here? And you're all worried. And then it hadn't been more than like 2 minutes. He's like, dude, we got to get out of here. I was like, what's wrong? He's like, do you not feel that? I was like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I had shorts on.
So is this our house that you're talking
Yeah.
about?
It was the one on Clarendon.
On Clarendon or
Oh, Clarendon.
Clarendon.
So this was different. This was not the house that you guys purchased.
It was 30 minutes before.
Gotcha.
Well, and to make a long story short, so we'd left, but it took forever to get the fleas off, and I was in my car, and they were still on me when we were driving to the next house, which happened to be Arlington.
He was going crazy in the car.
Because they kept biting me. It was terrible. And then we got to there, and I thought, okay, we're done with the fleas. I got rid of them. And then I show up there, and they were there too. Like you couldn't win today, and I was so mad. And I was like in my head, I was like, I already hate this house. This whole day has been terrible.
That's so funny. I remember the first time I had fleas. Yeah, it's just like one of those experiences that you just can't get them off. You can't shake them, and you're wiping your legs for like 10 minutes, and you just cannot get them off you.
We were outside of Clarendon, and like we had to run down the street while brushing our legs off, so they wouldn't jump back on our legs.
I mean, and there what's even crazier is there was actually somebody living in Arlington when we bought it from them. We actually,
Really?
I was there signing a quitclaim deed. He was actually buying a property from us, and then I was there, and then he said that he was interested in selling his property, so I connected him with our acquisition guy. And so he was there living, and he was completely happy. So
Yeah.
it's just interesting what you do with these, motivated houses. It's interesting.
Yeah, when you've been in this business long enough, I've seen some crazy things. I remember going to this house, and it was, instead of fleas, it was cockroaches.
Oh my goodness!
And those cockroaches, like you would move the fridge, and cockroaches would just scatter up the wall, or there was cockroaches crawling in all the dog food and the pails and stuff. It's kind of interesting. But anyways, back to the flea story in the house. So you guys actually ended up buying the house, though. You must have liked the fleas.
Well, yeah. I mean, so I believe it was the same day as the meetup with you guys, and like we ran through the numbers, and it looked pretty good for turning it into a rental. And we talked to Jaren right after the meeting. Jaren was like, oh, so do you guys like it? We were like, yeah. He's like, so you want to put an offer? And we were like, sure.
Yeah, we didn't know what to say.
Yeah. So we just said yes.
Yes, so.
And, well, that's kind of the story of how we got it under contract.
Well, and I think the funniest part was when we originally sent the purchase agreement over, I was like, just like walking down the hallways and like, oh my God, this is real. Everything happened, and I was like, what do I do?
Yeah. So you're super nervous?
I was definitely nervous just because I was like, when you put your name on the dotted line, it's like you're liable, and there's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Did you guys use your own funds to finance, or did you guys use hard money? How did you guys?
One of the guys that my dad swims with was generous enough to lend us some money.
Guys, I want to highlight that, because if you guys are just starting off, you would be super surprised at how many deep pockets there are already within your network. You just got to let people know what you're doing, and you can pretty easily find somebody, surprisingly. It's a lot more common than you would think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to us about that a little bit. Is it in, you don't have to disclose everything, but is it good interest rate? Is it, are you paying hard money prices?
It's kind of close to hard money. There wasn't any origination points or anything like that. It was just a flat 12% just over the course of the year.
Cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, 12% sounds, high to some people,
Mm-hmm.
and other people it sounds low. So it just
Right.
really, it just depends on who you are. Yeah, if we could get 6 or 7%, that's better than 12. But if you pay 12% and it's a great return on investment because the deal is good, then that's fine. So I guess if you're listening out there, don't let 12% stop you. If you can borrow money from a friend or a family member or whoever, mom and pop shop, and it's 12% or more, and if it's still a good deal, I think it's worth it. So
Yeah, I used to hear that back in the 80s. I wasn't alive then, but I heard back in the 80s that interest rates, conventional interest rates, were actually 15, 16, 17% just from the conventional bank loans. So it's all relative. For now, when conventional rates are 4, 5, 6%, worst case scenario, 12% sounds terrible, but 12% compared to 16% sounds great. So it's all relative.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you bought this rental house. So what's going on with that right now?
We are getting cabinets ready and the floor ready to put down, and then we're done.
Yeah, so we're in the home stretch. Kind of a funny story. We thought we were going to paint it ourselves.
How'd that turn out?
Wow.
Well, so in the bathroom we had essentially knocked. So it was plaster. The whole house was plaster, but we were going to redo the bathroom just because it needed to be it was first things first, a cast iron tub. We wanted to shatter that, so that was one of the first things we did once we got it.
We actually broke a sledgehammer
What?
trying to beat it to pieces.
That sounds a lot of fun for a couple 20-year-olds.
Yeah, I had tinnitus for 3 days.
But anyways, we'd essentially re-drywalled the bathroom and re-drywalled the kitchen. But essentially, once that there wasn't a whole lot to do with it. We pulled up, one of the first things we did was pulled up the carpet, got that done. But when I go back to my point when painting, is we were going to go paint. We figured, okay, we're going to save some money. I think the long story short of it is, unless you're really good at painting and you have a bunch of time, hire it out. Essentially, I think the demo work is one thing that anyone can do if you just get a hammer and just it's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But some of the finer work.
And also, you want to work on your business, not in your business.
But we tried, and essentially it was I put a drywall coat primer on, and I go this way, and then I go back down. I took the paint back off. It was frustrating, and he'd be like, "You got to stroke it like this," and I'm doing this. It's just bad.
Turns out he never painted an interior wall before, so
Yeah,
it was a learning
I'm
experience.
with him, man.
Yeah. Now, I remember when we bought our primary residence, a painting crew came in and they wanted to charge us $5,000 to paint the trim, the doors, all the walls, and the ceilings. And I was like, man, $5,000, that's a lot of money. So we said, how about just the walls and the ceilings, and we'll paint the trim and the doors by ourselves. They said that'd be $3,000. I was like, okay, well, let's just do that. So they painted literally the walls and the ceilings in about a day and a half. That's how long it took them. But I guarantee you, for the next 30 days, my wife and I were over there, painting the doors and painting the trim, and hours and days later, finally got it done. I was like, dude, why did we do this? It's crazy. So sometimes it is good. It's all about your time and like you said, just working on your business. Whenever you're in the trenches, you just don't have time to even think about, kind of why you're even doing it. You're just, when you start doing something and you start tearing it out and getting into it, then you almost have to complete it because you know what you tore out or what you're doing, and it's just hard to get on the other side of that to really think about, why did I do it? Am I working on my business instead of in it? And so would you guys have done something different? Would you have hired it all out if it were to do over again?
Well,
essentially we did hire it out.
All out. Yeah, like we put the primer on and then we're like, no, we're done.
Well,
our work here is done.
And the other thing that me and him kind of talked about, we were both worried, was I want it to look good. I don't want it to look bad. I might as well pay someone who's good at doing this to let them do it. And I thought it'd pay off in the long run. Yeah. Obviously, it's more money up front, but I figured it'd be worth it.
Get a better tenant in there.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It looks really good now.
Did you guys end up using BuildWise?
We've used them for quotes on some houses, but we haven't actually used like their labor or anything.
Yeah. I was just curious because a lot of our listeners and a lot of our buyers use them, so I want to know what your experience was. But, so, anyway, do you guys have any more properties besides Arlington right now, or is that the only one in your guys' wheelhouse?
Well, we're going to the closing table on Thursday.
Oh, yeah?
Are you guys still pacing the floors on that one, too? Or
no, not as much.
No. It's over in Windsor Park.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay.
So
what are you going to do with that one?
That's going to be a flip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. You get some quick money, some long-term money. So you got your cash flow property, and then you're going to get some quick money with your flip.
Yeah, capital building.
Awesome.
That's awesome. So what's the vision or the game plan? I mean, I know this is really great for our audience because I know that a lot of them are kind of right where you're at, and just I know we've had some conversations kind of off the air about learning so much that like you guys are really involved with our local Syria, and there's so many options to do in real estate. I mean, have you guys honed in on a particular strategy? Or are you guys still kind of figuring it out? Like, what's your end game in real estate?
All right.
That's a big question,
Hey, we know that you used to put your business plans down in recess, so now that you're 22, 23 years old,
I'm going to become the Illuminati.
Now it's for real.
Start a mafia.
I mean,
this isn't Monopoly no more.
All right, so what the plan right now is to build capital through multiple different ways, start getting cash flow through like some rental properties, and then eventually scale up to, instead of flipping or just flipping, we would add in some development. We might do some of that here. We might do some like out in California or something. Cash flow wise, we might upgrade to like duplexes, apartments, something like that to bring in more cash flow. And then after we start getting more money from that, then kind of go into like high rises and stuff like that.
Man, just remember me when you get there.
I know.
I'm going to need a job. So,
you guys are doing all this crazy high-rise stuff. I'm still going to be wholesaling $10,000 houses.
You could like wholesale apartment complexes too.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that, but because we don't assign contracts, I don't know, unless you have huge pockets, I don't know how you'd be able to do our type of wholesaling, what we like to call the simple close.
Right.
With I think you'd have to do double closes or assignments, which is fine, but it especially with that large of numbers, for me personally, it scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it's just I'm comfortable with the single families, and we've looked into multifamilies, and we've sent out some commercial mail, direct mail for commercial buildings, and we're just way too conservative to dabble in it because, like Jaren said, it kind of scares us. So they'll be wanting $200 or $2 million, and we'll offer them 500 or something. I don't know, just something that doesn't even make any sense because it's just kind of out of our wheelhouse. But But that's awesome, man. You guys got a good game plan. Do you guys have, kind of a plan written out? Like, what is some advice that you would give some young guys like yourself, as far as setting goals, and developing that plan? Do you have any advice that you tell your friends in your neuroscience class?
I mean, I can only give like a few pointers that I know we do. Like every Tuesday at 7:30, we have our like weekly meetings. So we kind of go through what we want to do, and we even got to the point where, it's like a 30-minute meeting, and it's like the first 5 minutes you have to do this, this, and that, and you're trying to get through that, and then the next 5 minutes. So it's like trying to stay really on top of things, and then we kind of have an idea of what we want to do for the week, and then we kind of check in with each other throughout the week. Did this get done? Did this get done? And we also have everything set up on the Google Drive, and so I can kind of see what documents have been uploaded, if this has been done. And so we try to keep each other as much in the loop as we can, and I think that kind of helps with the productivity. And I think another thing that we've kind of taken to heart is really, like, don't, it's kind of corny, but, like, don't make excuses, right? Try to find a way to make something happen. And I guess we kind of live by that, because I might bring up, like, oh, we can't do this because, X, Y, and Z, or this hasn't come through yet. And he's like, no, it'll happen. Don't worry. We'll figure it out. And so that's kind of something that I think is important to keep in mind, because obviously when you're first starting out, I went to another meeting, a real estate investors meeting, and I was talking to this person, and I was running through the numbers of Arlington, and they were like, don't do it. And so this happened to be like maybe a week before we closed, and in the back of my head I was like, I shouldn't do this. And even my mom and my dad were like, don't do this. I mean, I had like everyone, but his family was totally different. So, but my advice would be, be confident in what you're doing, and just trust yourself that at the end of the day, just make it happen and do what you got to do to make it happen. And that's kind of like what we lived through on this property was, if that means we have to do the demo, or we're gonna have to put in the carpet or flooring or whatever, we would try to do as much as we can to make it happen, and we weren't gonna make an excuse about it. So.
And also another thing, I would highly recommend going in with a partner, because you can kind of play chicken with it. Like, oh no, I'm not afraid to close on this property. Mm-hmm. You're not either? All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And then the other thing is just like set a goal and just take baby steps at a time. Mm-hmm. Just got to keep yourself disciplined to get there.
So on that, how do you guys work together in the midst of conflict? Because I know some people do really well at partnerships, but it's kind of a diamond. I think a diamond is, and I think that's a saying that means a little. But I'm trying to say it doesn't happen very often. So go into that a little bit, because I know. Brett has intentionally stayed away from long-term partnerships because it just gets messy, Mm-hmm. So when you guys have conflict, like there's expectations, like you said that, hey, did this get done? Did this get done? If it doesn't get done, how do you guys resolve that?
And let me kind of chime in there too, because when I first got started, I did have a partnership with my dad, and we did that partnership for probably 5 or 6 years. Just because I knew that I could trust him. I'm a little bit more cautious just because I've been doing this thing for a while now, and I have, a lot of experience under my belt. And if somebody came in, they were only doing it for like a year. And I've just seen a lot of friendships and people get weird over money. Mm-hmm. And my dad, he kind of let me have the reins and kind of the control over the deals we bought and all that. So that was kind of my role. But yeah, now I'm pretty cautious on just because what I've seen, just like when you get married, when you have a partnership, you're kind of married, and then divorce is very ugly. People have different opinions and that's kind of what it is, when you split up. So kind of go into that about what's your guys' roles, like Jaren asked and stuff.
That's a really good question.
If we don't know, we're going to know today.
Yeah, sometimes, like, we'll bitch each other out, but, the stuff will get done. Yeah. Like, we've known each other long enough to where we can kind of press each other's buttons to get the job done.
Yeah, just to go off that, I'm sure there's some things that I do that probably annoy him, and there's some things he does that annoy me. But at the end of the day,
I like to sleep in. That's one of them.
Yeah, he likes to sleep in, or a little late sometimes, but that's another story. But essentially, at the end of the day, essentially I acknowledge what he's good at, and he acknowledges what I'm maybe not so good at. So, maybe I'm the person
and
who's...
what he's good at.
Well, yeah, but essentially, I might be more on time and I got to get this, and done. He might be more kind of, not that he's behind on things, but he has a different way of doing it. But the thing I give him is I feel like he has a better vision. He comes into a house, and he can kind of already piece out where things are going to go, and I know I just haven't got that yet necessarily, or not as great as he is, because he'll go, I'll move this here, knock this wall down, do this. But it's if I go to prehab, I can kind of see that better. So I just things like that, and I acknowledge, he's better at that, so I kind of let him do that. He spent more time looking at architectural drawings from, some of the architects he's talked about, and he has generally a better idea of how to position and lay out things, and so you just work with that.
I know at that last meetup, did I give you the book, the Traction book?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you started reading that or no?
I haven't. That's actually number 2 in line right now.
Okay. There's another book by the same author, Gino Wickman, called Rocket Fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really cool book. And basically what Rocket Fuel is about 2 people. It's like a partnership. And there's a visionary and then an integrator. And they say when you can find those 2 people, it's just like magic. It works together. Because it sounds like that one of you, Andrew, is the visionary. And then I'd say Adam is the integrator. Mm-hmm. And then if you can vision something, and then Adam, you kind of make it happen. And that's a really cool book. I really recommend you guys to read that. And it's like magic when it works, when it comes through.
Yeah, all the Traction series. If you guys in our audience haven't read those, they're really, really a crucial part of our DNA at Simple Wholesaling. I mean, I would say, scaling up in Traction is really the back end of what Simple Wholesaling is. Mm-hmm. So definitely highly recommended. I have one final question before we go into the next section of the show. I just want to hit a little bit more on financing, because I know that for our audience just starting off, they may have been able to find, an uncle or somebody to help them out with their first deal, but you guys already have your second deal on the way and it's a flip. So how did you guys find funding, and how are you continuing to build capital, outside of yourselves, through either your network or hard money, or what do you do, and how do you find money? I guess is really my question.
You can take it.
All right. So currently, this next deal we're doing through Longhorn. So we're going the private money route.
Longhorn Steakhouse?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Free steaks.
They're accompanying with Texas Roadhouse on this one.
Oh, wow. That's so awesome.
I see what you did there.
Longhorn Investments.
And that's a hard money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
We also talked to CPL and everything like that, but we've been cautioned about using hard money lenders just because it might be over leveraging ourselves right now. So we're trying to play it safe, but also try to see what we can manage right now.
So what was your thinking process behind doing that? So when you say you're partnering, are you doing just a back end split, or are you paying interest with Longhorn?
You got this one.
So with Longhorn, I believe it's 13%, and they charge 3 or 4 points. So it's when you talk about being more expensive, they're definitely more expensive, but that's kind of what you expect with hard money, just because that's the way they operate. So that's currently our deal on this next house, and kind of their fees. So
how did you find them, though?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of my how did you guys learn about hard money, and then how did you approach them? Because I think almost every hard money lender that I've referred our buyers to has turned out to kill deals. So like I've not had a good experience referring people to hard money. So how did you guys find a good one that was reliable and all that?
Well, so
Saria for that one.
Yeah, Saria. So when they originally came, I think it was like a hard money lending, one of their main events through Saria, and there was like 3 people, and one I was like, I don't really think I get along with. Another one I was like, I don't think I get along with either. And then I found John Shipley. He happened to be there, and I talked to him afterwards. I said, hey, we got our first property and we got a loan, so we're going on this, and kind of saying like, we're serious, I guess. And he talked to me. He gave me his card, and then I think the day or 2 after, I'd sent him an email saying, what do we have to do to get set up? Because, we really have to move on some projects, and kind of end up calling back and forth and getting all the paperwork set up. I mean, that's definitely always like a big step through hard money, and it's been a learning process, knowing that this needs to be turned in, and I need, like, today we had to get a unanimous consent form signed that essentially says, we both agree with this purchase. And so coming through and doing all those things are just things you have to do, but it's worked out well for us. And like I said, we're looking to close on Thursday, so we're excited about that.
It's awesome.
Oh, one more thing for like, this is kind of going back a few topics actually. Like one thing I'd recommend, I did the mentoring class through Saria, and that gave me a lot of confidence to like go forward with stuff, and it also gave a lot of really good information.
That's cool. I always preach that just getting confidence, getting experience, just under your belt. Sounds like that's what you guys are doing. And yeah, you're paying some hard money prices, but when you're in this business long enough, there's a lot of people out there with, $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 or more sitting in some bank account or retirement account that you don't even know about. And when you start getting some experience under your belt, the money actually kind of finds you. People actually ask to meet with me because they have an extra $100,000 or 150, and they want to use it to make interest because they don't like the stock market. So it sounds like that's exactly.
It's totally your phone, by the way. As he hands me mine.
Sounds like that's exactly what you guys are doing. Just getting some confidence, getting some experience under your belt. So that's really cool. Well, I commend you guys just being so young and just taking action. I think that's awesome, and sounds like you guys work well together. I think one of the biggest things is working with a partner is it builds accountability. And that's what you guys are doing with your little, weekly meetings and making sure you got certain steps done. That's awesome, and that's really just half the battle. I mean, you want to build a business or lose weight or be more godly or whatever you want to do. Having an accountability partner is pretty crucial to that. So thank you guys. Are you ready to go to the next section of the show?
Let's do it. We got to be quick because I was pretty wordy on my questions.
All right, here we
go. By the way, before Brett yells at me, all the show notes and links and mentions will be found at www.simplewholesaling.com/episode 88.
Awesome. 1, 2, 3.
Going deep. You guys should have done it with us.
Yeah.
We didn't know you were going to do that.
I thought you listened to
You
our
want to?
show. What?
1, 2, 3.
Going deep.
All right, so in this section of the show, we're just going to ask you some more personal questions about you and your personal lives. Just really dig into the nitty-gritty, what it's like to be in your young 20s again. And so, you talked a little bit about your goals and aspirations, and I just really am curious. You guys have these huge degrees. Are you guys planning on using those? Is that kind of like your plan B, that if real estate doesn't work out? What's your kind of plan with that? Are you just going to keep doing real estate full time, or are you going to use a day job to fund your real estate business?
I think I'll still probably be in real estate. Like I'll get knocked down a few times, but it's a lot better than, like 80-hour work weeks for residency and internship. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just it's almost like, I guess, like a safety net. I mean, I hate to say that, but if you have a degree, you can probably find a job. But at the end of the day, that's not necessarily what, if real estate works really well, we hit the ground running really well and everything goes, that's what I want to be doing. Just because, like you might know, I like the flexibility of having that, or Even if you have a bunch of rentals and you have a steady income every month, maybe I can go travel all the time or spend time when I have a family when I get older. To me, those are kind of things that seem very rewarding. And then I tell myself if I work really hard right now, then I can, reward myself later.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
I think that's cool. Yeah. I just love it how your plan B is like, well, if real estate doesn't work out, maybe I can go be a doctor.
Well, but the thing about being a doctor, right? So, like he was alluding to, let's say I do this program and I decide to go to med school. I'm 4 years in med school, probably, I don't know, $240,000 in debt, unless I go do something or like do the military, because sometimes they'll pay for it if you do service later. And then if you want to do just say general, be a general doctor, you're still like a 3-year residency. You're getting paid during that time.
$60,000.
Like $60,000, but I mean, you are like he said, you were working 60, 70-hour weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a matter of how valuable is your time, and what do you like? I'm not saying like if you really enjoy medicine, do it. Do what makes you passionate and happy.
So on that though, like already to have the degrees that you have, you've probably already invested quite a bit, right? So like, how do you look at what you've already invested compared to what you see in real estate, and how do you deal with the conflict there?
I'll be completely honest. Like 75% of the time I was in lecture, I was doing like business projections or looking up real estate on my phone.
That's awesome.
So that's where your passion's at.
And hopefully my parents aren't listening or will never listen to that.
That's awesome.
But I think they already know that.
It's pretty much the same. I still enjoy the science route, but I think I enjoy more the idea of real estate and the flexibility. So that's kind of what's been very appealing to me. And I feel like at the end of the day, I can do more with, the world and changing it and doing better things through real estate than I could potentially as a doctor, just because of the way. Well, that's another story I won't get into.
Yeah, and another thing, I kind of felt like I was forcing myself to like neuroscience and medicine and everything.
So if you were to be radically honest with yourself, you don't enjoy neuroscience?
Not at all. Well, all right. There's some topics that are really cool, but like that's kind of all it is. It's like, oh, that's really cool, and then it's like,
it could be a hobby.
It's an expensive
more of something like you read occasionally, like once a month.
Yeah.
Like read it like a journal or something.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like you said, you could spend 4 years going to med school, spend another 3 years in residency, and then finally, make some decent money, but then working your tail off, 60, 70, always trading the hours for money. Or you can do what you're doing now and take baby steps, and in 6 or 7 years, you can have something really cool, have a big portfolio of rental homes while, traveling or, helping the world with that. So that's neat. Cool.
You ready for the next section?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. Touching.
We let music play on this one. It's a British guy that comes in. Definitely not.
All right, so in this section of the show, guys, we're just going to kind of end on a little bit of a lighter note, and this is called the touch of randomness. So, Adam, you conducted research on Suzuki. I don't even know how you say this. Suzuki Miura.
Yeah.
Miura. Suzuki Miura cross-coupling reactions of boronic esters in a chemistry research lab for 3 years.
Say that 4 times.
I think I just fell asleep. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. So you did all of that, but what is the dumbest? What's the dumbest movie that you ever saw during those 3 years?
Yes, Brian. Finally, a random question.
Oh, I don't even know if I watched a movie.
Or you can just name what is your favorite movie?
No, the dumbest movie that I hated that I watched when I was at IU was was it Ant-Man or something? No.
Ant-Man's
Paul Rudd
dope.
is awesome.
Anyway,
you just lost all
There's
the
gonna
cool
be a
points.
conflict.
I hated that movie.
Ant-Man? Why? Because it was
Which one?
scientifically not accurate?
It's just like maybe it's not was it called AMA. I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one where the guy's always like joking about every single thing he does in the whole movie.
I think it's Deadpool.
Yeah, maybe
Oh.
that.
Yeah,
I
that was
hated that.
terrible.
Hated that. Because I'm like, I go here, I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be like a
Awesome movie.
an
And it's
awesome
like-
movie.
Which it was.
Partnership conflict.
Well, it's just every time it was like these puns after, it's like you just can't do that for 2 hours in a movie.
Mhm.
Like it's all
And he
humor.
like sits on top of a dead person eating a sandwich. Like
Like, what?
what?
Mark with a mouth.
So on this this one's for Andrew. So we know that you are a car and a plane fanatic.
Yeah.
If you could have only one car in your possession, what would it be?
Wait, I already know this.
Oh.
I already know
Alright,
this.
let's-
I want to see what he says. He wants a
Alright, let's see.
250 GTO.
No.
Really?
First 5 were right.
Dude, I don't even know what the heck they're talking about.
Okay, so
I don't know what you guys are talking about in either of the two random questions.
all right. Well, obviously he loves cars, and one of his favorite car brands is Ferrari.
Love Ferrari.
And essentially, they have
You got the 250 right.
yeah, the GT.
Just drop the O.
GT? No. I just say it.
All right, the Ferrari 250 GT California. It's the car in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love that movie. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. I'm really happy with my Toyota Camry.
I know.
Throw it out
I'm
there.
gonna go drive my van. Oh, hey guys, thanks for just joining us on the show today. Appreciate you guys coming to all the meetups and all your wisdom and knowledge just getting started in this real estate game, and wish you guys so much success. Anything that we can do to help you, hope that we have already. I hope Arlington turns out amazing cash flow rental. But if one of the listeners on the show wants to reach out to you guys, where should they go?
They could just send us probably an email would be the easiest. Our email is pretty simple. It's just AA and then developmentinvestors@gmail.com. And we look forward to talking to other people and connecting.
And that'll be mentioned, linked in the show notes at www.simplewholesaling.com/episode 88.
Cool, guys. Well, that is a wrap. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you.
for having us.
Yeah.